300 acres, 15,000 trees in the grove, and 90,000 in the nursery. Pecan Grove Farms is a sight like no farm I've seen before. We drove back through hundreds of acres of pecan trees to meet Stacy Whiteman.
Hello!
Hi.
Nice to see you.
See you.
So happy to finally get here. It's taken a while.
At the helm of administration and finance, she does just about everything for the company.
They made me the Chief Administrative Officer. If you ever Google that, it basically means you get to do everything. So I always tell people I basically have involvement in everything except for farming the farm. But I do the business side. That's what I do. So I handle all of the finance. I handle all of our banking, our lending. It is my job to make that whole thing go round. So I orchestrate a lot of different things right now. So that's a lot of what I do. It's kind of interesting.
So tell me where we are.
So you're in the heart of the Bastrop farm right now. This is what we call track 4. This is our baby, the baby of the whole farm. These are 4-year-old trees, but they're in an interesting stage of growth because we actually don't plant our trees until they've came out of the containers at our nursery. So that's a 2-year-old lifespan. I mean, the trees typically don't start producing a nut until year 5. It's really at year 7 when you can harvest and sell those nuts. So the nuts before then are not really harvestable. They're not anything we would sell to the marketplace. Okay. So I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew I wanted to help farmers and ranchers. I just knew it. And it was probably the first week that I took the first lending class that I was like, this is it. I know I can do this. So I started my lending career right after college. I worked for Wells Fargo. I worked for some community banks and then ultimately landed at Farm Credit. But we moved to Texas. I made a transfer in Farm Credit, and that's how I actually met the guys at Pecan Grove Farms. They were needing a lender. They were trying to buy this farm at Bastrop, and they asked me to come full-time on, and I've been kind of going nonstop since then. It's a very crazy world I live in. It's the basis of my career is to fight for the farmer. That's all I've ever wanted to do. Help the farmers get their food and their crop to the marketplace. That's all I want to do. It's just so important to educate people, and agricultural advocacy drives everything that I do. The trees produce leaves first before they come in and start producing their flower. And you've got to wait till they pollinate. We don't pollinate with bees. They self-pollinate, so we've got a pollinator tree amongst all of our trees. Even in my very small circle of friends, most of them are not farmers, most of them are not in agriculture. I've done like a small poll and said, is this helpful? And they're like, we wouldn't have no idea unless you were posting this, unless you were helping us see this, it would have never crossed our mind. So I love social media that way. I think it's amazing, and I think it's the future of advocating in agriculture and showing a positive light to them. So, this is what we call a cluster, and these things will grow. There'll be 4 nuts right there. That'll be a nut cluster. We like 5. These things will grow into an actual nut. That's a nut sitting in there, and those things will get really big. And so when they get to the point where they're ready to come off, we'll shake. So we harvest, we shake the tree.
A machine comes in.
A machine comes in, shakes the tree, and they fall. That's how we get them off. So they shake the tree, the nuts go all over the place. They will then have a sweeper that comes in, puts them in a nice little line, and then we've got another machine that just comes and picks them up. This takes forever to get harvest done. So.
Well, this is beautiful. I think I need to go. Look how these trees are beautifully lined up.
Yes.
I could take picture after picture after picture of these gorgeous trees. So I'm standing in the middle of a 500-acre pecan farm that used to belong to the Burdall family, and this was their house. And they sold to Pecan Grove Farms, and now Pecan Grove Farms runs this massive pecan grove.
Yeah, we hold a lot of meetings in here.
Oh yeah. And of course there's pecans.
Of course, if you guys would like to try some, I'll show you a trick. Easy way, without having to have a cracker, you just take them and you just squeeze them together and it'll crack a nut.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I love pecans. Pecans are my absolute favorite nut, if I had to pick one. They always have been.
So the best time to eat a pecan nut is right when they come off the tree. They've still got a lot of oil to them, got a lot of water to them. And we like to say we grow one of the best pecans in the country here. Pecans are funny. They have an interesting saying that they say they love water, but they hate their feet wet. So that means they don't like flooding. They don't like to just have standing water all over them. They want a whole bunch of water, but then just make it go away for a little bit. So, so you really have to be careful about how you irrigate out and what they do and don't like. We've got 3 different types of irrigation models right now going on at the farm, and we're just trying to figure out which trees like what. All of our trees come in as seedlings, and we plant 64,000 trees in here every year. They'll spend a few months here, and then they roll over into our nursery. We have right about 100,000 holes in our container nursery right now. We typically grow 4 to 5 different varieties of nursery trees, depending on what's in demand and what people want. And our most popular variety is what they call a Pawnee tree. This is actually a Sizer right here. So the air blows the nuts. And so the top ones are the ones that are durable pecans. The nuts come in, they pick them up in bins out of the farm. And it was a heck of a lot easier to bring them down and then have them come up this way than it was to try to get them up and over. This big piece, this is sturdy enough that all of our tractors can drive over it. Yeah. They've got an attachment and it just comes straight into the hole, and the pecans just come down into the hole and then just come on up. So this little facility right here is actually where our shelling and our cold storage facility is at.
Okay. How long are things cold stored here? Usually?
We rarely cold store. In fact, the only thing that's in here right now is our seedlings. Should be. God, I hope it's only our seedlings. It's not even, we don't even have the seedlings in here anymore. We had seedlings in here, and the seedlings are all in the greenhouse, so there is no reason to cold store to turn it on. So last year we only did 130, but this farm can produce over 600,000 pounds, so which is what we anticipate this year. So we'll use it for seedlings. We'll use it every once in a while. I think they used it once in 13 for like 2 months. Mm-hmm. We can shell if we need to. So nobody knows how to work it. We'll have to have Al come in here and explain it, but we could shell the product, and that's what this is for. So yeah, it's our little mini shelling plant. 280 acres all in of producing pecan trees right now. So, and this is an 80-acre tract. So it is what we call our baby farm. It's not a big farm, relatively speaking. When you think of the other nuts and the nut industry as a whole, we are very, very small. Every woman that I've ever met that's involved in agriculture is a very strong person, very, very strong with a gift of some sort. And, it just motivates you to be that kind of a person. So you be fearless. That's a lot of what I take from women like that, is just to be fearless. It's the gift that women have, I believe, is the fact that, we're out of that stigma. We're not the old farmer. We're not Farmer Joe. We are women that are coming into an industry, and you know what? We are very smart and we're very powerful, and we get things done. We just do.
If you guys liked that, be sure to hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss another FarmHer story. Now go check out all those other great stories we've got right here on our channel.